Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya.
Namaskaram. Today I am going to chant Canto 85, Rajasuya's Sacrifice. ततो मगधभूभृता चिरनिरोधसङ्क्लेशितं शताष्टकयुतायुतद्वितयमीशभूमिभृताम् अनाथशरणाय ते कमपि पुरुषं प्राहिणो दया च तसमागधक्षपणमेव किं भूयसा. O Lord, some 20,800 members of royal dynasties, rotting in the prison of Jarasandha, the king of Magadha, sent a messenger to thee, the sole refugee of all the helpless and the suppressed, beseeching thee to destroy the king of Magadha in order to save the world from oppression. कियासूरभिमागधं तदनु नारदोदीरिताद् युधिष्ठिर मखोद्यमादुभयकार्यपर्याकुलः विरुद्धजैनोद्वरादुभयसिद्धिरित्युद्वये शशंसषि निजैः समपुरमियेत युधिष्ठिरीम्. While thou were getting ready for a campaign against the king of Magadha, sage Narada brought the news that Yudhishthira was preparing for the performance of the Rajasuya sacrifice. Being in a fix to decide which of these two undertakings thou should attend to, thou did finally start for the capital of Yudhishthira with thy followers on the advice of Uddhava, who pointed out that both the purposes could be accomplished simultaneously, as the sacrifice had to be done after the conquest of all opponents. अशेषदयितायुते त्वयि समागते धर्मजो विजित्य सहजैर्महिं भवतपाङ्गसंवर्तितैः श्रियं निरुपमाप्वहनः भक्तदासायितं भवन्तमयि मागधे प्रहितवान् समीर्मार्जुनम्. When thou with thy 16,008 wives did reach the capital of Yudhishthira for the sacrificial festival, the latter had, with the help of his brothers, whose strength had been enhanced by thy gracious glance, conquered the neighboring lands and amassed immense wealth. Now Yudhishthira commissioned thee, the ever-ready servant of devotees, along with Arjuna and Bhima, to subjugate King Jarasandha of Magadha. गिरिव्रजपुरं गतास्तदनु देवयूयं त्रयो यया च समरोत्सवं द्विजभिषेण तं मागधम् अपूर्णसुकृतं त्वमुं पवनजेन सङ्ग्रामयन् निरीक्ष्य सहजिष्णुना त्वमपि राजयुद्धवा स्थितः. O Lord, afterwards thou didst go with Arjuna and Bhima to the city of Girivraja, the capital of Jarasandha, disguised as 3 Brahmanas, and seek from Jarasandha the boon of a combat which would be delightful to the eyes of the onlookers. Not being fortunate enough to die at thy hands, Jarasandha chose Bhima as his opponent, while thou with Arjuna looked on, witnessing the fight between these two scions of royal families. अशान्तसमरोद्धतं विटपपाटनासंज्ञा निपात्य चरसः सुतं पवनजेन निष्पाटितम् विमुच्य नृपतीन मुदा समनुगृह्य भक्तिं परां दिदेशित गतस्पृहानपि च धर्मगुप्त्यै भुवः. Noticing the exhalation of Jarasandha in that fierce and protracted contest, thou did hint to Bhima by splitting a twig that Jarasandha could be killed only by tearing him into two halves. Bhima did accordingly and threw him on the ground. Then the imprisoned kings were released and were blessed with devotion, attaining which they lost all interest in worldly matters. Yet they were entrusted with their kingdoms for the protection of dharma in this world. Pracharushi Yudhishthire tadanurajasuyaadvaram prasanabhritaki bhavata sakalarajakavyakulam vyamapyayi jagapate द्विजपदावने जाधिकं चकर्थ किमु कथ्यते नृपवरस्य भाग्यो उन्नतिः. Yudhishthira then began the performance of Rajasuya sacrifice, during which all the assembled kings joyfully worked as servants, performing the task allotted to them. As for thyself, thou wert engaged in washing the feet of Brahmana, guests and the like. Imagine how great was the good fortune of Yudhishthira. Tatah savana karmani pravaramagraya puja vidim vicharya sahadeva vaganugatah sadarmatmajah vyadatta bhavate muda sadasi vishwabhutatmane तदा ससुरमानुषं भुवनमेव तृप्तिं ददौ. As an essential part of the sacrificial rite, Yudhishthira, after due consideration, accepted the advice of Sahadeva to perform Agra Puja, worship of the most noteworthy Tithi. And when he did perform this worship Tithi, the soul of all the worlds, everyone in this wide universe, be he god or man, felt great mental satisfaction. Tatah sapadi chedipo muninrupeshu tishtat swaho sabhajayati ko jadah pashupadu durrutam vatum iti tvai sadurvacho vitati muddhamanasana dudapata dudayudah samapatannamam Pandavaha. Then Shishupala, the king of the Chedis, sprang up from his seat, flourishing his weapon and spitting words of abuse at thee in this assembly of sages and kings. He exclaimed, "Which fool would select for this place of honor a fellow like this, a dwarf, a cowherd, and most corrupt even among them at that?" The sons of Pandu thereupon came forward to confront him. Nivare nijapakshaganabhimukhasya vidveshinastavamev jahrshe shiro danujadharina swarina janustrittalabdhya satata chintya shuddhadistvayat Paramekatamadhrutayoginam durlabham. Elbowing away thy allies, the Pandavas, thou didst face the advancing adversary and cut off his head with thy divine discus. Noted for the destruction it was wrought among wicked asuras, being purified by constant thought of thee, by way of communion through confrontation, in three births as Hiranyakashipu, as Ravana, and as Shishupala, he gained union with thee, which is so difficult of attainment even for yogis. Tatah sumahite tvaya rutavare nirudhe jano yayau jayati dharmajo jayati krishna ityalapan khalahasatu suyodhano dutamanaha sapatnashriya maryapitam sabhamukhe stalajala Brahmada Brahmita. When the Rajasuya sacrifice, the most holy and the most elaborate of its kind, was completed, all people returned to their places, loudly acclaiming Ti and Yudhishthira. But on the other hand, wicked Duryodhana was mortified by the jealousy at the sight of the prosperity of his enemies. The Pandavas, as also by the confusing experience he had to undergo by the impossibility of distinguishing between land and water in front of the magic hall built by Maya for the Pandavas. तदा हसितमुदितं द्रुपदनन्दना भीमयो कृपाङ्गकलया विभो किमपि तावदुच्चप्रपयन धराभरनिराकृतो सपदि नाम बीजं वपन् जनार्दनमरुत्पुरी निलय पाहि मामामयात्. O Lord, when Duryodhana fell into water in his confused situation, Bhima and Draupadi laughed loudly at him. O Lord of Guruvayur, thou who did encourage their derisive laughter by a slight movement of thy sidelong glance, and thereby sow the seeds of the destructive Mahabharata war, for ridding the earth of its burdens, may thou be pleased to save me from my ailments. So the Canto 85 is completed. I'll be back with the next canto in the coming week. Till then, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat.